Hey, everybody! Welcome. It is September. We're doing some fun stuff. Some of us are on the road, as you can see, and the rest of us are comfortably in a very stable, suitable studio that they trust, and I don't trust mine. So today, our show is now about trust issues. Now, today's show is about the Tech Expo that Midwich will be hosting in a few. I guess in a few weeks. Jenny?
Yeah, about 2 weeks time. So I feel like you've jinxed me now, Chris. And if my internet fails, then it's entirely your fault for jinxing my setup. But
I am
yes,
so sorry.
we are both here. One of us from a hotel, one of us from our usual station, streaming as usual around the world via Midwich's YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter accounts. As always, ask us questions, comment on whichever platform you're using, and we will see it. And if you don't get a chance to watch today's show in full, do not worry. You can watch it back via either the YouTube channel or you can listen only to us on Midwich Sounds via our podcast. Alternatively, simply register and make your way to Technology Exposed in 2 weeks' time on the 5th and 6th of October at Ascot Racecourse. Interesting timing. Chris, you're fresh from an in-person event. And how was that? How busy was it? Are we definitely back to in-person events, local ones?
Well, absolutely. This was a manufacturer-driven event. So I'm currently in Orlando, Florida at Crestron Masters. And at the same time, they concurrently run a separate conference called the Modern Work Summit. I was here for the Modern Work Summit, though I should have been in Masters because I have one more class, but I said I'm going to take one, not the other. There is well over 1,000 programmers in-house here working on their diamond levels, platinum levels, and their certifications for their Crestron programming needs. On the Modern Work Summit, it was more of a thought leadership conference that kind of coincided with that. They brought in some of their end users, they brought in some integrators, and they brought in obviously a distributor. So that was my responsibility. Then folks that were in town, Joe Waves in town. He was one of the speakers at the Modern Work Summit. Tim Albright was in hanging out, so I got to see Tim. I hadn't seen Tim in it seemed like ages since pre-Infocom because he wasn't an Infocom. But I do have a funny story because last night I went out and I went a little extra. And when I came back to the room, I watched a little TV, fell asleep. And I've not been right since I got here because it was an ordeal to get here because we hit storms coming in. So my flight was super delayed. So I have not been, 100% right. Like if your trip starts off bad, even after a couple of days, you're still trying to catch up. So I'm in this wonderful hotel. It's nice. It's kind of like a suite setup. It's meant for like the Orlando families that are coming, right? And it's not very, it's modern, but it's not smart like a smart home thing. So the funny thing happened. I got in, I fell asleep watching TV. I get up in the middle of the night because I was kind of, you know what that's like, right? So the TV's on, shut off the TV, and then I fall asleep again. I wake up now. It's about 3, 4 in the morning, I guess, around this time, and I wake up to go to the restroom, and I'm walking to the restroom, and what's those round mirrors? What are they, like beauty mirrors?
Yeah. The magnify one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. The only smart beauty mirror that I've ever encountered in my life. And as I'm walking by, the thing's tilted facing out. The light turns on. I almost, I turn and I see a face. It's me, but I'm half asleep, not wide awake. Of course, I have what the hell, and a couple explicitives, which I'd rather not repeat here on TV. But I fell into the bathroom at 4 in the morning. A very interesting time. I've not been that scared of myself. Very embarrassing moment. And on top of it, you know how they magnify your face? So here's this, I turned and the light automatically turned on. I had like a sensor on it. And it turned on and it showed my face. I'm like, oh.
But giant.
Amazing. Not what you would expect at 4 in the morning. It was a come to God moment. I was like, what the hell just happened? It was, it's something.
You could maybe find yourself like in the next couple of weeks, you'll be a meme because there'll be like security cameras or something that have caught it in the hotel room. And you'll be on one of those compilations, where they have the cats and the dogs that see themselves in their reflection and like
I don't, yeah,
Fight each other.
I don't see myself as accident prone, but that was not what I was expecting to happen. A light turns on and it's a big ass face in front of me. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. Did not see it coming and it threw me completely off. So, I'm okay. I'm okay. No
Hey, you
animals, me,
are.
nobody was hurt. Yeah, it was fine.
Right now, you are a perfect living example of modern work, right? So just lean to the side, Chris, because there's a mirror behind you, so we can see you. There we go.
Yeah.
Look at that for a mobile streaming setup.
Yeah.
It's exactly where the world's headed, and you're fresh off of a modern work summit, and
Mhm.
you're a
A
perfect
lot of,
example of it early in
yeah,
the morning the next day.
a lot of cool people. They brought in a lot of cool speakers. So we had speakers from Accenture. They had speakers from the AMG Formula One team, Microsoft, obviously USC. They had some end users, manufacturers,
Yeah.
people that are coming back and telling us how they're working, and
Yeah.
people kind of, and then the analysts that were here as well. They had people from Wayne House and people from all different groups. Frost and Sullivan was here. So they are all giving us the data. That was day 2. Yesterday was with data day. So everything was, their surveys that they're running and stuff like that. Very interesting. But it all keeps coming back to in my head. And this is our conversations that we've had regarding meeting equity and return to office and all this sort of stuff is we're still not there. Right. It's still not shaken out. We still have some time and some ways to go before we finally see it. And I think that if anything, we may be in like version 2.0, there's a 3.0 coming.
Yeah.
And that 3.0 version is finally settled when all the leases are, and that's the footnote that comes up on everybody's thing. Leases in the States usually typically run between 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
So those leases, depending on where they are in that, will shake out how everything goes.
And it's not just work, right? So this leads on really nicely to why we're here today.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't managed to recreate or create an equitable experience when it comes to events either. And I was struggling a little bit last week. So I'm thinking, okay, we were holding another show. It's going to be featuring, good number of vendors. We've got a lot of new vendors to Midwich, but they're not necessarily new vendors to our customers. And we all got together quite quickly this year, firstly at ISE and followed shortly by Infocom. And in the UK, it's kind of show season at the moment. There's been an event this week. There's going to be an event in 2 weeks' time. And there's another one in London the week after that. And you sort of go, okay, why are we desperately trying to draw people to it? Because I am guilty as well of seeing an event land into my inbox, hitting register and looking for the virtual version so that I don't have to travel to it. But this time, this Technology Exposed, I've realized is incredibly different. Now, aided by the fact that the last time that we held a Midwich Technology Exposed event was pre-pandemic. And that, gosh, isn't that a long time ago? Although somehow it doesn't feel like it is, but it really was a very long time ago. So then I've looked at the difference in our group, and it is extreme. So why would you come and visit us at Technology Exposed this year? Well, we've got a couple of guests coming on to talk about what they're going to have on show, which are some of the teasers. We don't want to give it all away because, of course, we want you to come. Yeah. We've got a number of things going on. We have 2 or 3 keynotes each day, actually, one on future trends, one from Microsoft, one from Zoom. We're hosting the Avixa Women's Council, and they have a very exciting speaker as well. So Sarah Joyce is going to be delivering a keynote at the Women's Breakfast. So I'll give you some more details on that later. But just from a show standpoint, we've always said historically, we are the largest truly AV show, technology show in the UK. That's still true, but we're no longer just AV, because at this show we'll also be Holden, showcasing both on stands and through their vendors representation, but also through production themselves around the show of various different parts that are going to be streaming and recorded. We're also going to have our 2 newbies as well. So DVS will be there, which is a great opportunity if you are an AV integrator and you're looking to diversify your portfolio, your skill set, move into other areas, and you're not in the CCTV security and surveillance space. These are the experts to go and talk to. We have Nyman's. Again, it couldn't come at a more topical moment when we're seeing this real drive and exponential growth of UC, which includes phones. Soft phones are in the future, and I think that expertise coming from the telecom space is just invaluable right now. We have sound technology. So, live events finally properly coming back into play. What better than to go and speak to our touring audio and lighting specialists? The list goes on and on. Our home cinema specialists from Envision will be there. PSCO will be there with, I think, possibly an example of an XR stage. All of this is going to be present, and it spans across so much more than just AV. So for me, this year is going to be a really, really exciting show, and I will just confirm those details. The Avixa Women's Council, they will be hosting the Career Building Breakfast, and that's going to be at 8 a.m. on Thursday, the 6th of October, with a keynote from Sarah Joyce, the Chief Global Officer at Avixa, about her career journey, which is very exciting. And then there's going to be an Advancing Your Career panel session with 4 really great high flyers contributing to that as well.
Why are you not publicizing the fact that you will be there? I mean, you're like, you will be one of the attractions. You meet Jenny live. Jenny will be there representing Midwich Live, not Midwich. She's going to be very on brand at the show at Tech Expo. But what are you doing there? Are you speaking, or are you doing some? Let the people know, because
I am going to speak. In fact, I'm still working on the content now because I'm fresh off of quite a few speaker engagements, and I'm really conscious this time of not sort of recycling anything to an audience that may have come across some of my talks already this year. So I'm going to be talking about what I believe are the sort of 3 main drivers behind tech evolution in our space. One of them is equitable experiences, although I'm gonna call it equitable working, because I think it's about more than meetings. Now it's about making sure that you can collaborate from anywhere and so on. And we're not there yet, but what tech we think will enable that to be possible. I'm going to talk about the metaverse. And where we fit into it, and some really cool tech that's been around for the last couple of years that's really coming into its own right now, and why actually what we're seeing in terms of trends in retail and hospitality is so massively linked to the metaverse, and we're just totally unaware of it. And then the final one is my hot topic for the year, really, sustainability, which I'm not here to preach. I'm not here to tell you about how best to dispose of product or how to package it, etc. I'm simply going to highlight how important this topic is becoming and the effects that's going to have on our industry and protecting ourselves moving forward, and what we can expect to see, because these initiatives are happening around us, and some of us will need to start protecting our businesses and diversifying from what we do as the norm. And that there's so many areas of services and similar that you get into that are potential new revenue, and in doing so you would support a sustainable AV industry. So I believe I'm scheduled to talk on both days, and then we will do a Midwich Live show as well, just to grab a few AV celebs off of the floor and see how they're enjoying the show. So you won't be able to view any of the sort of core footage or really get a feel for the event, but if you absolutely can't make it and you just want to see a few faces and hear a few highlights, there'll be a short Midwich Live show.
I love that you're doing that. It is absolutely 100% positively necessary. The fact that companies, just because you're going back to live events doesn't mean there isn't a live component, and we can justify the need for a live component alone. You want to talk about inclusion and for people that can't make it physically to the show or still immune compromised. So there is still some strong there's some strong feelings and sentiments around having an online component to it, and I'm happy to hear that you guys are providing that. So that's awesome.
So I guess the next thing to do is to invite on our first guest who is live. Our second guest will be a pre-record, which we love because we get to sit back and have a proper cup of coffee. But this time he's a veteran of the show really now, and a headline sponsor of Technology Expo. So from Samsung, let's bring on Andrew.
Andrew, welcome.
Good afternoon, Chris and Jenny.
First of all, I have to say, I am glad that the mime therapy classes that we sent you to after the last time you were here paid off, because you're not dressed as a mime. So obviously that worked. Yeah. Am I right, Jenny? Wasn't there a mime off? Was that what
Yeah,
we
there
called
was.
it?
We did. So we
Mimes?
It haunts me to
it
my
was
days.
it was the LED show, wasn't it? And we asked you and Liam to mime installing an LED wall. And I have to say, actually, we should have given more points to Andrew for effort of just getting straight on with the job. Liam
I'm still not exactly sure what Liam was doing in some of those.
Well, I think he was a parody of, say, a poor stereotypical installer, and he first poured himself a drink and sort of messed about a bit. But Andrew's work ethic, even through mime, was on point.
I don't know about that. It was very out of the blue.
Mime in a past life. You never know. Well, welcome, Andrew. Tell us, first of all, let's get, for the people that weren't around for the mime episode, which was a very popular episode.
I'm not doing it
again.
Can
you give us a little bit of background on who you work for and what you do?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, I work for Samsung UK. I'm the LED product manager for the UK and Ireland. So I look after everything that is direct view LED, both indoor, outdoor. So products more familiar being the wall, being one of them, and the micro LED technologies. And that's me, really.
Awesome.
In a very short, sweet.
And tell us, what can we expect from Samsung in a couple of weeks at Technology Exposed?
Sure. Obviously, everyone at Samsung is highly looking forward to this event. It is one of the ones that we are very keen. And as you've highlighted before, getting back into the face-to-face live events, products like that we're going to be showing, where we have LFD products and LED. There is an element that we need these live events to actually really sort of properly demonstrate and showcase what this can do for a business and how it will enrich what they do. There's only so much a PowerPoint through a Teams call can really help what it's going to do. So from the LFD side, we're going to have a Flip 4 will be there, or Flip Pro as it's more formally known. That's going to be on there, showcasing some of the more improved drawing latency elements, so much smoother writing and drawing applications, improved audio elements to sort of just improve on that meeting space, collaborative space, to include audio. Alongside that, we will continue to showcase the kiosk product, which people may or not be familiar with, a product that has been a very powerful product during the period of COVID and the pandemic, where people wanted much more contactless touch points for service and less interaction with people. So we're going to be, that will be there showing off the modular functionalities. We can go through people understanding the payment options, how it could be integrated into the business, and the remote monitoring and management solutions. LED, we will be continuing to focus on micro LED, which is my Halo product. We'll be talking more about our more all-in-one streamlined solutions for corporate application and meeting room spaces. So one of those will be there for us to showcase how easy that is to install, to actually deploy. So it doesn't take days to install micro LED anymore. We've got it down to a matter of hours. So it just means that can just be much quicker for a company to deploy. And one of the bits I really want to show is that on the outside of Ascot, we've recently just had installed a nice big outdoor LED screen, which is about 5 meters wide, 14 meters tall. So it'll be a good chance to sort of highlight and showcase that we're not just all about indoor LED. We have a massive outdoor LED presence, which I think is something I'm really, really keen to talk to people about. But our stand is going to be a bit more of a networking hub, more informal. Have a seat, have a chat. Let's have a conversation about how your businesses are going, how Samsung can actually support you and actually help take the business to the next level. And obviously, if you do come to visit, there will be some drinks available for us to have to make it just a little bit more informal and a bit more of a friendlier environment.
Did you notice our ears perked up when you said drinks?
Absolutely. Weird, that's why I left it to the end, because I thought it would just take away the entire thunder of everything I'm saying.
No, awesome.
Save the best bits for last.
And just to clarify, just as we joined before we went live on here, to all at Samsung, Andrew confirmed that this chat counted as enough interaction to
to show up for drinks.
Exchange for
Absolutely.
a drink. That's right. Yeah, on the
Absolutely.
first day of the show.
Come and
If you
find me
snap
on the
a
stand. I'll
picture
be
of
there
the
both
screen,
days.
it works as a
I'll
drink
sort you
ticket.
out.
We don't use QR codes. Just take a screenshot and take it with you, and that's your drink ticket.
Done.
But go ahead right now with my crappy cup of coffee in front of me. Let's go. Come with me.
So there's a sort of rising trend at the moment around Microsoft Teams Front Row.
Yes.
And they recommend, and it runs natively in a 21:9 aspect ratio. And that's not typical of the majority of our LFD products out there. In fact, I believe I'm still only aware of one manufacturer who happens to manufacture in that size, and again, in that aspect ratio, and again, limited in terms of sizes. So the natural answer to this for me is LED. Would you agree, Andrew? And how easily can we achieve that with Samsung product?
You've hit the nail on the head. It does prove a big challenge for LFD products that are by design 16:9. And putting two together, you've not really solved it. You've just made a 32:9. No, it plays very, very nicely to a more modular indoor LED solution. It's something which actually we've been in conversations with Piesco on in terms of developing a solution. So we already have had pre-bundled solutions for full HD and UHD. But I am keen to now start developing and actually putting forward bundles that are actually 21:9 setup. So something that is a little bit easy to deploy, easy to position, and be then compliant with the aspect ratio that Microsoft has put forward. So it does play very nicely into LED. And I think it's something that if there is a requirement for Piesco and myself, I'm very keen to have those conversations.
And just to clarify for the folks that are watching at home, your warranty will be voided if you try to break off the extra pieces to get that. There is no tin snips allowed or breaking of it to fit the wall. So please, just want to put that disclaimer out there before anybody decides to do anything crazy. So.
Absolutely.
Interestingly, actually, if you look at how Zoom is set up as well, so obviously with a little scaling involved, of which we have many wizard-like boxes that can achieve it. Zoom runs beautifully in an extra wide aspect ratio as well, and just how it's laid out. There's one of the gallery views that actually sits really nicely in a much wider screen format anyway. So maybe unknowingly, Microsoft have sort of accidentally supported them also. So it's a worthwhile resolution, I think, to look at in terms of not just the software that you're going to run, but the camera position that you're then forced into. So by moving to LED or moving to modular, you're able to get that wider screen without compromising where your camera goes. And, you know, everybody's after bigger screens as we get more people in the room and to get them comfortable. And also the fact that we're no longer just accommodating content, we're also accommodating the faces of those that are joining remotely as well. So
as Forrest Gump once said, I'm not a smart man, and there's not many people that honestly would say that they don't want the extra screen real estate. I don't see that as a negative.
Agree.
It's just how are we going to achieve that? Is it going to be from expanding the screen or through some sort of wizardry with our boxes to make everything kind of fit?
Well, that's one of the things that actually we were quite keen with the content box system that we use on our indoor LED. There is functionality which does have the ability for it to scale and obviously stretch content to fit real estate of an LED, especially if it's that little bit too wide or not quite wide enough for the real estate. But it also has the ability just to have that switched off. So if we do get that 21:9 aspect there and the content and the feed coming in is as 21:9, it can just quite happily just go, there you go. Go do as you were. So it does fit quite nicely. And I think it has actually been is welcomed. It does highlight a strength of indoor LED.
Yeah, agreed. And I think that, that ability, that works the other way around as well, right? So if you do choose to have a display that is set as a 21:9, because the majority of the time you are running an MTR, but all of us need flexible spaces. This is what's so different about today's world. We used to be able to have so few meetings that you could have a dedicated room for video conferencing and a separate room for training or larger meeting spaces. And that's just not the case anymore. You need to be able to run both. And, we'll be using 16:9 content for many years to come because we're not ready to transition. We have so much of it to use, but that inbuilt capability with scaling, especially being able to use processing and scaling from the same brand as you are purchasing your display technology, just gives people that option. So you're not limited now. You're able to use both, and it will look good.
Jenny, we've been waiting for for the boardroom or the conference rooms to start adopting the LED modular, and it's simply because you can now build to suit whatever size monitor size you want with that sort of stuff. And it was cost prohibitive years ago, and the prices have obviously come down like everything else. Well, sorry, this is 2022 prices, and everything else is questionable. Period. I don't want to give anybody false hope or impressions here, but what originally the only way you were going to get any sort of massive screen was through projection, and then obviously displays started reaching the 100-inch and 120-inch, but those are kind of clunky. So the modular was always the conversation piece that would be spoken about to get into a boardroom. The ones that could have it a beautiful, micro LED or tiny LED screens, and without the worry of projector bulbs and this, that, and the other thing. And, it really did, set a bar, right? And now we have a big provider of cloud kind of saying, hey, we need this extra real estate, and it doesn't exist. And so your choices are go back to projection, which is not bad, but projection will have its environmental challenges. Right. And what I mean by you have to obviously plan out. It's not just putting the projector in a room. So an LED wall is, finally being spoken about in conference rooms as a legitimate display. Absolutely.
And that's why I was very keen to have those conversations with PSCO about creating that ready 21.9 designed aspect, ready to sort of cover that. LED has definitely over the last few years just grown in its popularity. And I think people are beginning to understand the dynamicism that comes from that modular solution. That it's now about, how much space do you want to fill? What do you want to do with the environment? It starts to really stir some interesting conversations with customers when they start to realize you're not just in a fixed rectangle size anymore. What do you actually want to do? What do you want to achieve with your meeting space? Is it a meeting room? Is it collaboration space? Is it or do you want it to do everything? In which then a scaling system like ours, well, that's fine. You just tell us what you want to do with it. Off it goes.
Yeah, awesome. Brilliant. And will you be there in person both days, Andrew?
I will be there for both days. It's actually a local stomping ground for me, so I've got no excuse but to be there. No, I'll be there, so I'm more than happy that anyone and everyone who comes to Samsung stand, please do come and find me. I'll be happy to take you through that stuff. And also find you the right person from Samsung if it isn't me.
It is the Ascot Racecourse. Do you have to wear an Ascot?
Not anymore.
Come on now.
It's not a Royal Ascot Day where you have to go top and tails.
Well, even on the Royal Ascot days, actually, the dress code is sort of become less important in previous years.
Don't the ladies wear the fascinators?
Yeah, on Ladies' Day. But I mean, as with anything, everything in life's getting a little bit more casual, isn't it? Golf included, which
I think it
riles
does also
me.
Depend on which stall you go into at Royal Ascot as well.
True.
You go to the presidential ones and the fancy ones. It's only that stuff. But you can go to some of the other stalls and stand areas, and it's a bit more relaxed.
Yeah, wow. And for Technology Exposed this year, we welcome anything you would like to wear. Please bring your whole self to the show.
I'll bring my mime costume with me, shall I?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. With or without the mime costume, Andrew, we're really looking forward to seeing you in just under 2 weeks.
Thanks for joining
there. Maybe not Chris. I don't think you'll be there, will you, mate?
No, not this time. I will be there in spirit. Maybe the ghost that haunted me last night.
I could take Lego Chris with me, maybe, so that you're sort of there.
And it will mime. It doesn't talk a lot.
Brilliant. Thanks, Andrew. See you very soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Wow.
Hi.
Oh, man, what a day.
We should do a quick shout out to our very brave colleagues from across the industry who have agreed to ride a ridiculous distance from DIS, which is the Midwich Group and Midwich Limited headquarters in Norfolk, to Ascot. I believe they will arrive on day one. So if you're unsure about which day to attend, we have the women's breakfast on the Thursday, but on the Wednesday, we will see the arrival before lunchtime of our Ride 22 Tour de AV riders, the names of which are now on the screen. So 2 from Samsung, actually, but not Andrew. So all of these guys and girls are riding a very long way for charity, for a number of charities, in fact, and it would be great to welcome them all in. So the more people that can be there, the better. We have, in fact, exceeded our target. So in true sales organization style, we have, of course, increased it. So if you can donate anything, please do. We are now going to attempt to hit 20,000 in total donations for our chosen charities, which are listed now on the screen. So if you can give anything, please do.
This is good. We forgot to mention, because we did have people on LinkedIn. For example, Neville Bound said had a comment about me being in a kind of a parallel universe. Now, wouldn't it be creepy if I stood out and you saw my head pop out from behind me? No trickery here, folks. I would just shut off my computer and just scream. That would be horrible. Oh, look at Ben, who is not now producer. Ben just popped up a message saying, please give generously, and populated a link over in LinkedIn. So folks that are on LinkedIn, please go ahead, give that give it a click and donate what you can. It'd be great. Thank you so much, Ben, for putting that up there. And this is the first time that we're going solo without Ben.
I think so, yeah. So we have had a change of producer. Producer Ben has, over the last 2 shows, been handing over the reins to producer Kerry, who is doing a fantastic job for us, so that Chris and I don't have to do anything other than try and not get our words muddled up. But clearly, producer Ben couldn't stay away, because that's his 3rd comment now on LinkedIn.
Ben won his Emmy last year, and this year's Emmy is going to go to Kerry, not him. So that's the way you do when you produce good shows. That's how we roll. But your name will not appear on the statue. I'm sorry.
Well, we're about to give producer Kerry something to do, so that we can have a cup of tea and sit back, because we couldn't make the diaries match up for our next guest from Biamp. So we caught up with him earlier in the week to pre-record his interview. So this is us catching up with Daniel Hinton from Biamp, also a headline sponsor at the show at Technology Xpo, to talk about what they're going to be showing. Welcome, Dan. Thank you so much for joining us. Are you looking forward to joining us at Tech Xpo?
Yes, thank you very much for having me. I'm a bit of a veteran to Tech Expo. I'm probably getting to the point where I've been to every single one, but for Biamp, it's our first time attending. So yeah, as a business, we're really excited about coming to Technology Exposed, and we've done it in a big way. It's the biggest stand we could get our hands on, and we're hoping to bring lots of different products to Technology Exposed and to your customers.
Brilliant. I mean, it's an interesting one for us, because we actually began working together as the pandemic sort of hit. So this is our first we've been at events together, both as exhibitors, but we haven't had an opportunity to have Biamp fully present at our major event, which is great. We don't work with you guys in the US. So Chris, I think you're quite keen to hear what's
I'm jumping at the bit. I haven't worked with Biamp in a while, so bring me up to speed with what's new and what's the latest and greatest with Biamp. But if you can do that in less than 5 minutes, I will soak it all in like a sponge.
Well, let me try my best. Obviously, I'm still relatively new to Biamp, just celebrated my first year. I came in with the Denise acquisition that I'm sure we'll jump into shortly. But no, Biamp, predominantly, we started off as an audio company, and we've been doing audio with DSPs and moving on from that situation for a long time. What we've done more over the past few years is moved into the UC space. So video conferencing has really become the largest part of our business, with our Parlay microphones, our Tessera and Devio DSP solutions, and then our speakers to go alongside that. That's now taking up a large percentage of our time, and our bundles that we do really well with. Everyone seems to be moving into that video conferencing sector, and we've been available with not only stock, which helps everyone at the moment, but the products and the technical to help customers along. And we've seen a lot of customers move over to Biamp because we've had that technical ability, the ability to move people from what they previously had that they may be struggling to get hold of onto a new Biamp solution, and then holding their hand all the way up to installation. And then they're getting the confidence that not only are we supporting them front end with all this technical support and free pieces of software like our conference room designer, but then moving forwards, you know, we're helping them with ease of installation and the fact that you can program some of these rooms with just a touch of a button and no need to have an audio engineer in place. So we've really pushed into the UC aspect, and over the last 12 months, we've kind of added on to that with our new video range of cameras. We now have our own cameras. You know, we were an audio company, and now we've moved into the video business. We've also got our Parlay conferencing bars, which will be the first time they're at a trade show in the UK at Tech Xpo. And we'll be looking to show off the VBC 2500 with a camera in, and then the ABC 2500 without the camera. And then we've obviously got the video cameras there on show as well. And then we're obviously going to be talking about control, and we made an acquisition 18 months ago to allow us to add even more into the meeting rooms.
Very nice.
Wow.
Very nice.
So a lot going on, a lot to see. It's great that we'll be showing the soundbars and conferencing cameras for the first time as well. So hopefully anyone who didn't know that was going to happen will be now frantically registering for Technology Xpo to come and have a look. In terms of that, so I mean, traditionally I've thought of Biamp as an audio company, and then I've been watching this sort of transition over into the UC space, and the control, though, that is a little bit different, because there's a number of audio companies who have at least brought out a soundbar solution with a camera in, or partnered with another brand to offer a solution bundle. Control, you've done in a slightly different way, so with the acquisition of Neat. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What sort of skill set is needed for installing your control systems, how they differ from the legacy product that most of us have known for many, many years, and you know, what should these integrators now be going to skill up on in order to work with the Neat Biamp range?
So I was in a unique position about 18 months ago. I was the UK sales manager for Neat, and then got told pretty quickly that this company called Biamp was buying us out. And then when I found out they were to stand next to us at ISE back in 2019, it's kind of, we kind of sort of picked up from there. Neats is relatively unique in the market because it offers a level of control, but unlike other control systems, it's more of a configuration platform. It's really, really easy to program. You can kind of get a program system put out in less than 10 minutes. It's a drag and drop style system with a driver-based format, and we have, I think, about 10,000 drivers now, and we're continuously adding as we go on. Very easy for you to add another driver as well. It's a matter of just copying and pasting out of a manual. We then have, so once you've kind of dragged on your drivers onto the platform, you then have either a GUI interface like a PowerPoint style front end where you can add any images you want. Any of those images can then become a button. You can change the backgrounds, you can use templates or make your own completely. You then have the ability of adding those drivers and those commands onto those buttons, and you can add as many drivers, as many commands onto a single button. So you could almost have one button that was party mode. Lights go down, TVs go on, you can choose what source you want, DSP ramps the audio up to 10, however you kind of want to do it. And you're as limited as your imagination with these kind of platforms. So I've had customers that had 3 buttons on one screen and it was just changing the sources of the device. I've also had customers that wanted a 165-page program. You're really limited in how you do it. I've had creative customers that have gone, here are all the buttons and here are all the designs we'd like to give you, Arsenal Football Club being one of those. And then I've had customers go, no, we're very happy with a white screen with our logo on top and just pressing 1 or 2 buttons. It is completely down to your engineers. In reference to training, it's very simple. Anyone who's kind of used the control system will be able to get their head around it. That was the whole concept of the Neat now Biamp Impera platform, is that anyone can pick it up and use it. We do provide online training courses. It's about 2.5 hours on our website, and you get your CTS points for that for anyone who's looking to renew their CTS. As well as alongside all of our training courses, we'll give you CTS points. But also you have, we're now doing in-person courses, and we're just starting to do those as of this month and next month through mid-which we're offering in-person courses in Bracknell and Manchester. So it's quite an exciting time to get back to these in-person training courses as well for us, which has been 2.5 years since we've been able to do any of those due to COVID as well.
Yeah, I personally find it easier to have an in-person course, although Chris, I think right now, is the king of online training certification. So you can add Biamp to your list.
Come at me, man. Come at me with the course.
There's one that's 50 hours long, so I'll look forward to seeing your name on the completion.
But Jenny, what did you just sign me up for? Jenny, would you just sign me up for? This is not, I didn't sign up for this.
This is your thing. So ever since we returned from Infocom, Chris has been solidly in some sort of online certification course, I think, non-stop since then. Every week there's a new certificate. So next challenge, Biamp.
We have to, interview very smart folks. And one thing I don't like to be is technologically dumb. And even walking in here, I had to do a little homework on Biamp before obviously asking Dan to verbalize it. But you want to be a smarter person. I just think that it's good for us to do that. I do have a question regarding, now I want to take your Biamp hat off and ask you just a silly personal question. You said that you saw everything from like 3-button pages to 126 pages of code.
Program.
You've been dealing with this now for a few years. What do you see is the overall trend? Is it this oversimplification, or when I say oversimplification, down to automating everything down to 1 or 2 buttons, or do you still see that crazy level of programming where everybody wants every feature on the touch panel?
Genuinely, it does depend on the customer, and it depends on the requirements. It's a bit of a cop-out to your question, to be honest. But when we're looking at meeting rooms,
I don't do easy questions, sir.
When we're looking at meeting rooms, it is simplification. It is, most of the time they want to use it from their MTR. They don't even really want a second screen for control. If they can incorporate that all in one, then that's even better for them, and that's something we're working on, hopefully, moving forwards. But, realistically, people just want to be able to press a button, get their team call up and running, do what they need to do, exit the room. And we have a lot of products to help as well. Moving into some of these higher spec rooms, and some of the bigger ones we're doing, these are CCTV command centers, where you wouldn't necessarily feel that level of controls involved. But, we were sitting in front of a CCTV command center that see a certain supermarket, every single one of them in the UK, and they were literally just pressing buttons, and anyone's screen could go up onto the wall, and they'd be able to watch out to make sure this person in particular wasn't shoplifting or watching on this, or someone's had a fall, call somebody to go and help them, and it was just it is definitely depending on what is the requirement and where and what it's for. But yeah, in meeting rooms in particular, people just want to go in, do their Teams call, get it working, and go out, because we've all kind of been used to sitting in front of a laptop for 2 years. We've had the microphones in front of us, we've had the best audio because the speakers are in front of us, or we've got headphones on, we've the cameras in front of us. People are wanting this, and then when they've gone back to meeting rooms, they've gone, this sounds terrible. I'm not used to this, and that's where we've done well as a company for the past 2 years, because we've made the terrible sound a lot better.
Sir, it was a trick question. There is no right or wrong answer to that. Just want to point that out.
It certainly does feel like, the return of the control system is here, actually. So I think that we all got sent home. Prior to that, we had the rise of the huddle space, and we were seeing a lot of simplification and simple, also rooms that were dedicated to a single purpose as well, because we were creating so many smaller spaces. So we would have these. They're a presentation room. They're also an MTR or a Zoom room, but you only need basic controls. And I think we had started to see quite wide adoption of some of the own app solutions from Zoom and from Teams and others. It does feel like now that we've returned to the workplace in hybrid form, every room is needing to have that flexibility of being good enough for an equitable experience if it's for UC purposes, but also to run training or a large in-person meeting or long in-person meeting as well with multiple content, etc. So I think that's when we see those simpler control solutions that have perhaps come out from the software providers or some of the solely UC camera vendors now not quite cutting it for us, and we do need to return to traditional AV control, really, isn't it? But it sounds like what you've got now at Biamp is a real sort of perfect blend of that simple programming versus functionality and capability. It's really, really interesting and so much easier for customers now to try and remain working with one brand and have one point of control. So tell us a bit about your soundbars. I think what's great is bringing this to the market now. You have the benefit of all of this time of watching some of the others have good features, poor features, what's gone right and what's gone wrong. So how do you think your solution is going to fare up against the others that are out there?
So I'm really excited about the soundbars, and by the time Technology Expo comes, there will be stock in the warehouse. So that is one of the things that we can say. There'll be stock in the warehouse, it will be delivered, and we'll be able to start telling people that their orders are being shipped. So I've known about these now for some time, and we were really excited when they first mentioned it and talk about all the technology that's behind it and how we're getting through. And I can't wait to bring this Technology Expo. What we'll actually be doing is having two side-by-side rooms upstairs separate from the show floor, where we'll be able to show you room-to-room cooling with our conferencing bars and showing features like Launch, which is our now T-certified automation sort of programming system. Really, it will go out, it will check the background noise, it will check room reverberation, and it will tune the soundbar to the room, so it gives you the very best audio system you've got in about 2.5 minutes. So it's a really good system for that. Alongside that, we have what we call our noise reduction algorithm. So this is an artificial intelligence algorithm. We've always had noise reduction, but this is only getting better and better as we go on. We're demoing that on site. So we'll have the guys upstairs rattling crisp packets, typing on keyboards, pouring water. If I'm doing the demo at home, I've got the drill out. I'm showing you now. I'm doing my best Freddie Mercury impression with the Hoover. We do lots of different things like that, trying to provide as much noise as possible to show you how good our algorithm is and how much an improvement it is going to be with these soundbars. And that's one of the things we're really excited to share with people at Tech Xpo is actually it's very difficult to get that if you aren't hearing both ends. So being able to go in between rooms, make that noise yourself and actually go, well, actually it's really loud, because I could be pretending that the Hoover's on and I could just be, moving it around the floor and everything else, and nobody would know. So being able to make that noise yourself and your colleague in the other room going, actually I can't hear it, and it's that proof that we're quite excited to bring to them. So obviously the two different conferencing bars we have one with a 4K video camera built in, and then we have one without for anyone who might have a slightly more tricky room where they've already bought their PTZ camera and they're like, no, we spent a fortune on this camera, we just want better audio. So we're bringing out the ABC alongside that. So we're quite excited to bring both bars to Tech Xpo.
Yeah, I know we're pre-recording this because of our conflicting schedules and stuff like that, but what would it take to get a Galileo out of you, since you did bring out Freddie Mercury?
Maybe after a couple of drinks at Tech Xpo, but not today.
Okay, there you go, folks. Whoever wants
I'll
a Galileo,
bring the camera.
That's it.
I'll bring the camera.
Cameras. With a show of hands, who wants to see this at Tech Xpo? Please go ahead and put that right into the chat right now.
It ties in so nicely, actually, with what we were talking about last week, Chris. So we're fresh off of a live show, Dan, where we've been discussing meeting room etiquette and how there is only so much the tech can be responsible for, and some of us have just got to adjust our behavior. So I'm now quite excited to get to Technology Exposed and test out my pet hate in your room-to-room setup, which is when someone is presenting, the people that sit sometimes too close to them, sometimes the other side of the room, and disrupt any sort of speaker tracking by doing this. Yes. So that's what I will be coming and seeing if it's possible to drown out the of which we have a number at Midwich who drive me nuts in hybrid meetings. So, and oddly in that show, our guest, as I'm sure you'll remember, Chris, was talking about the importance of AI now in moving forward to us getting towards these, truly equitable meetings. So really exciting to know that we'll have technology like that on show at Tech Expo.
We may have to do an AI show in the future, Jenny. We can make some tinfoil hats and be very futuristic and be futurists. This is going to be great. We have to get this now to producer Carrie and see if she'll approve that. So,
futurist show. This has been great. So thank you so much, Dan, for joining us. And looking forward to seeing you at Technology Exposed. In the meantime, if anyone's unable to get to Tech Exposed, how can they contact you if they want to find out more about the new products?
Yeah, they can either contact us through their Midwich account manager, which they will have, or most of them will have, which helps, or they can get hold of us at biamp.com.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
Boom. And the magic of TV brings us back. Look at that. I even changed my setting. I love this. This is the best, Jenny.
Well, in the background, actually, I went off and refilled my coffee and accidentally let the dog in and then had to wrestle him out. And then, so that's the beauty of the pre-record interviews. We get to go away and have a little break.
We love it. And we hope you guys enjoyed listening to Dan. And obviously, Biamp is one of the premier sponsors at Tech Xpo. So please, folks, if you haven't registered, go ahead and do that. Go check out what is being shown at the show. And since I'm not there, I would love people to just message me, tell me what you're seeing there, send me pictures. I want funny pictures, I want cool pictures, right? Because I'm on this side of the pond. There's some translation issues, so send me pictures of stuff that you're seeing there, and then I can spring them on Jenny with, look what I got sent on the internet from the show. And obviously, party pictures are the best to then put out on a live stream. So everybody that goes, please go ahead, send me pictures, send me comments, and then I can definitely play if this is true or not with Jenny on the next show, where we will do an analysis of that stuff.
You could give me a time, like you now have 40 seconds to find this product. I have to run. I can locate it.
Well, do you remember? And it'll be a picture. I'm like, Jenny, do you remember doing this? No, I don't. Do you remember seeing this? No, I don't. Yes, we will play. Do you remember if you send us some content? So go ahead, folks. Go ahead and track that down. Make your reservations to go out to Tech Exposed today and go see Jenny. And I'm sure there'll be something fun.
Do you know what? There's loads of people to meet as well this year at Tech Expo. So I think we even have some Darren representation heading over to the show as well. So it's a really good time. On the screen now should be all of the brands in attendance. Although actually, I think there's a couple that don't feature on that even who have confirmed stand space since. So please do pop down. Hopefully, we've convinced you in this show that it's going to be that bit different from other events in the UK in terms of the access that you'll get to our sister companies and what they can do and offer in terms of expanding, diversifying your business. Also, the fact that you'll be able to come and meet the group team, some of our staff from across our other businesses across the globe. So this is a really good opportunity to, if you are looking to expand internationally, let's get down and come and meet us when we're all in the same place, because that's pretty rare these days, especially now that we're so hybrid and we're all well and truly Teams and Zoom certified. It's rare that we as a group get together outside of ISE and Infocom. ISE, which it feels is almost just around the corner now.
Are you teasing another show on a show about a show? What? Do
you know what? I think it's far enough away that we're saying, that's still, whilst it feels really close. And I think if anyone else like us now, we're firming up our travel arrangements, and Chris and I are playing around with some ideas of what we could maybe do on the Midwich stand that would go down well with some of our AV tweeps. But yeah, end of January is still quite a way away. So get to Tech Exposed.
I may be there in hologram. I may be there in hologram form. I may be there in person. I may not be there at all. How's that? Those are your three options. So we're going to figure out how that happens. But guaranteed, Jenny will be there. Midwich will be there. And there are some surprises that I've heard through the grapevine. Not that we are a TMZ type show where we want to drop rumors and stuff like that, but I know a guy, so they kind of told me something, and something cool's coming. So be prepared. ISE is around the corner. Unfortunately, the year is flying by, and this is the craziest time of the year for travel. As you know, next week I am in Pennsylvania. I'm running over to Pennsylvania to go visit our friends at Vistacom for their Tech Expo. And then I leave there, get on a plane, fly to Dallas, and I'll be in Dallas for the CEDIA Expo talking work from home. So if any of the folks are making that trek over, I will see you there at the CEDIA Innovation Hub, where I will be doing presentations about the tools.
Crazy, right? And I mean, also in the States, I think you've got Microsoft Ignite coming up as well, just over a month's time. And then is it early November for DSE? Is early November?
DSE, Zoomtopia, New York Digital Signage Week. We have CCUMC, which is another show, which is a higher ed show that I will be attending as of found this out this week. So I will be at CCUMC and with Jen Weaver from our higher ed group. And we will be over there. And guess what? I'm doing a presentation, or being part of a presentation, with Joe Way. And on the other, I'm doing two presentations. One is with Joe Way, and the other one is I'm working with Joe Cornwall from Legrand, and we're going to be talking about USB-C. So I'm going to be his hype man. He'll be kind of great because he's a great instructor when it comes to that, and he is Mr. USB-C. So it'll be interesting to hear his conversation and how the higher ed folks are dealing with that as a connector. More than that, I think he has a whole conversation. I don't want to offend anybody by saying that it's just a connector. Okay. But anyway, folks, thank you so much for joining us. It's coming upon the hour, so we've been doing this for a little bit. Two great interviews today. I'd like to thank Daniel from Biamp and Andrew from Samsung as well for joining us. Jenny, where can folks find out more about Tech Exposed, and obviously where can they connect?
So Tech Exposed is so important, it actually has its own website. Which is technology-exposed, but with no E. So XPOSED.com. You'll find all the details of the exhibitors on there, some information about speaker sessions and Midwich Live and other things that are going on, and also who you can meet from Midwich and all the logistical information that you will need. As we mentioned before, do register, and then you can pick if you would like to attend the women's breakfast. That's going to be on the Thursday, the 6th. If you want to cheer on our riders after their grueling journey for charity, then it would be great for you to be there the first day. Alternatively, just come for both, and then you don't have to pick. But hopefully, if you weren't sure, we've twisted your arm today with our teasers, and we'll get to see you there. In the meantime, if you have any questions, you can find me on LinkedIn, Jenny Hicks, or on Twitter at Midwich Jenny. Chris, where are you?
I can be found on LinkedIn as Christopher Netto CTS. That'll probably make me the only one. In Twitter, there's an Australian guitarist, singer-songwriter by the name of Chris Netto. So I'm Chris _Netto, while he is Chris Netto. I've shut down my MySpace, so you won't connect me there anymore. And outside of that, I am on the road. So folks, if you would like to get a hold of me or Jenny, because these shows are now starting to happen, send us messages, send us emails, pigeon carriers, whatever you guys need, smoke signals. We'll find it, because in the wonderful world of the internet, we get alerts everywhere telling us that somebody's looking for us. So do not be afraid to reach out. We are, a group that does like to engage with our audience. So please go ahead and send us comments, questions. If there's anything you guys want to see on the show in the upcoming events, please let us know. We'll be planning a year-end kind of spectacular. We're thinking about a musical, but last time I tried singing the Bohemian Rhapsody, I got booed off stage, so I will not be doing that. But we are definitely planning some big things coming into closing out the year, and obviously into 2023. So this is the good time to get on the schedule, folks. So let us know. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. This has been a Midwich Live, and thank you to producer Carrie, who is now a full-fledged producer, making it through a full 1-hour podcast. Thank you, Carrie. Appreciate it.
See you all soon.
See you soon.